Just as I was getting ready to fly out to Latin America, Calumet offered me this DJI Osmo with the X3 Zen Muse to take away, to use and abuse, and obviously to review for use. More cheese. So what did I think? Well, I'm going to try and be brief and let you know. First of all, usually when I travel, I take my GoPro, I have the Hero 4 Silver, I now have a Ziontech Z1 Rider, which I've used on travels previous to this, and you'll notice a marked difference from videos I have up from even before that, where my footage frankly was all over the place and I was cutting the clips down just to try and make it viewable, but really it's just for me anyway. Once I get the Z1 Rider, started to get better, started to get more professional, and the video started to take on another level. So there you go, I had that ready to take with me. Then I got a Ziontech Smooth C, and you'd have seen that review just before I went away, and I was all ready. I bought a nice case for it. It was all ready to go when this came on my scene anyway. Yeah, it's been out for a while, but I didn't have any plans to take this. So I left the GoPro, I left the Ziontech gear. Of course I took my smartphone, but anyway. And now we have this. Let's take a look at it. This carry case is solid. It's very nice. It's hard and it fits the gear well. Yeah, you can get cases that are bigger, that take more pressure, but I really want something that's going to fit in my backpack, that's not going to take up more space than it needs, but it's going to give me protection. It's got a little strap there, so you can attach it around your neck to your body and sling it over. We open it up with care and you'll see it's nice and lined. Very little extra space. For me, it's all about portability. I'm not interested in a huge case, and in this particular instance, I'm not interested in adding loads of stuff to this. The idea of this for me is portability, shooting on the go. Some of you guys are into shooting music videos and bigger professional pieces, and you'll be using this for B-roll, for example. But for me, for traveling around, this is where it's at for me. You've got the smartphone holder, which opens up and screws onto the side. Now, if I'm completely honest, as always, I tried my best to not use this at all, especially in some places. I preferred to just have the smartphone in my shoulder bag where I could look down carefully, see what I needed and control it. Sometimes I actually just used it without the smartphone at all, but that's another thing. So that's that there. That will stretch right the way out. Check out if your device will fit with that, but that's what it looks like all on. And of course you can fold it away when you don't need it. The unit itself comes with a lens cap, which is a nice feature. It doesn't come off too easily, but easily enough when you're in a rush. It's locked into place, and one more there, and then you switch it on at the side. There we go. It's ready. If we give it 3 clicks, you'll see it flips into selfie mode. Now there's my first beef. This thing doesn't focus until roughly 1.5 meters away. So no one has an arm long enough, well, no one I know anyway, definitely not me, an arm long enough to shoot a focus selfie with that. Double click to go back. You've got a nice little joystick there, so you can turn it around. It's nice and smooth. And there you go. You can see just how far around you can get it to go. Of course, it has a stop. and there she is. If you want to reset, 2 clicks and you'll get it back. This button for photos, so listen. You may have heard that. Let me put it by the mic quickly. Did you get that? This button for record, you've got a light there, shows you the power, and you've got a light here which lets you know it's recording. Now notice something. I'm going to put this by my mic again, just off camera. Did you hear the fan? Well, as soon as you press record, if you've got the latest firmware, that noise will go off. So, although there's another small beef that I have, and maybe somebody out there will know how to sort this out, but when I press record, it makes a beep. When I press record to stop, it makes a beep. Now, I found that useful because I could see that beep on the waveform, but maybe you're not too interested. And audio is a problem with this, but it's only a minor problem considering the usage that most of you will be putting this to. Let's continue the little tour around. Let's turn it off for the moment. So we'll lock it there. A couple of weeks since I used it, and we'll lock it there. That's completely locked. Notice the fan is in there. Your micro USB is right there, and right under here your micro SD card goes. If you're shooting up to 4K, you need the fastest. Don't mess with this unless you're planning to swap the cameras over. Maybe for the X5, I think you need an adapter. Don't mess with that, just leave it locked. And here is another big deal, the battery. Now, it locks pretty well, and it unlocks pretty well, but it's not the best. You can get it, but if you're in a rush, you might leave it open, so be careful. But you do have another little tab there to stop the battery falling out. And even then, the battery doesn't want to come straight the way out. So what you do is you pull this tab and you pull it out, and there's your battery. You can see mine are labelled up. These are hired from Calumet 2. The battery only gives you about an hour shooting. So get spares, that's what I'd say. That's what I did. There is what they call an intelligent charger. Now, for some reason, one of the pins was weak, but it carried on afterwards on 3 out of the 4 pins. It charged away, no problem. Maybe you want a solution for charging a couple of batteries at once. Again, on the side, we've got the on-off standby. We've got this trigger here, and the all-important, if you want decent audio, 3.5mm mic adapter. And I've got another video where I tested that out in Colombia. The audio out of this is pretty trash, to be honest. Frankly, it's just reference audio. Or if you don't really care, it will do the job anyway. But if you're relatively serious about your video making, even as a tourist, you'll want to use a mic in there, and then it's fine. You can adjust the levels with the app. Now, the app's another story, but let me just show you this first. The most simple of things, but that means you can attach it to your wrist and let it dangle away, tighten it up, and then you can walk around with it when you're touring around a place, for example. Pick it up, unlock it, and you're away. The footage is beautiful. Now, if you want to take advantage of 4K, of course, you need the power with the laptop, but I found even my old MacBook Air copes with it well. Keep your clips down. At the time I was using GoPro Studio. I'm now learning Final Cut Pro, which is clearly the more comprehensive choice. And yeah, well, especially for 4K, because you can't output 4K with GoPro Studio anyway. But what I was doing was shooting in 4K and exporting 1080p. Hence the titles on my sample videos while I was traveling around Latin America. Let me tell you about this lens, by the way. It's a 20mm full frame equivalent, f2.8, 94-degree field of view. So it's not as wide as some of your GoPros, but it's still wide enough to suck things in. But it's not so fishy at all to make things a bit uncomfortable for your regular viewer. Very interesting. Of course, with 4K, you can crop that down. The grip is nice. It looks chunky, but it fits in the hand very well. Of course, I don't have huge hands, but you've got room below if you've got a bigger hand. So it's comfortable carrying for long periods of time. You've got nice texture there for the grip. So it resists well in decent weather. It's not slipping out of your hand too much. It's discreet enough. People that know about tech, or people that are into their cameras and stuff, they'll spot it and they'll probably come up and ask you questions about it. But that was the same with my GoPro on the Z1 Rider. But what was the app like? Now there was a small problem that I had. So let me get that up now and see. DJI Go app. With the app, you can select your device. Now they've recently updated the app, so make sure you've got the correct app for this device. Osmo there, Pro, Raw, Plus, Mobile, all the way down there. So you select your device. You don't have to do this every time, by the way. It'll automatically open here and you press camera. So let's be good and turn this on. Bit awkward with one hand there, but actually good test. You can see if it's that awkward or not. So from turning on to ready. Are you ready? A few seconds there. Now it'll move around, so we know that that's happy. So, right, you're in. We press camera. Let me just lower this so you can see what's happening. And we wait. You would think that as this has been connected several times via Wi-Fi, it would work immediately. But you saw the lag, and that was decent. Sometimes, quite a few times, I had to restart this, check the Wi-Fi, blah, blah, blah. That's annoying when you're running and gunning. You don't want that hassle. Well, I don't anyway. But if you've got time, you're okay. Let's have a little close-up look. You've got a lot more functions when you use the app. In the camera modes, you've got a whole bunch of time-lapse, panoramic, and there's another beef actually. The panoramic mode, I couldn't get it to output the completed stitched thing to the SD card. It lives on the phone in a smaller configuration. That's a bit weird. I need to check that out a bit more. With the video modes, you've got a whole bunch of slow motion, auto, but you've got a whole bunch of adjustments here. Auto, shutter speed, manual, ISO, EV, so you can really get deep into that. On this side here, you've got all your settings in there. Your video resolutions, your image formats, 12 megapixel images, by the way, not too bad. White balance settings, grids, center points. You've got your gimbal settings, your scene modes, recenter, selfie. So you can put this down and control it just via the app, which is very useful. And of course, you can get into the general settings, cache, hardware settings, Wi-Fi settings, etc. And that's a free app. Histogram up there, all your battery information, your time information is all along there. And there I am. I do love the unit. I think it's very well built. I think it shoots beautiful footage. The photographs are decent too. Of course, with these kind of cameras, it's not really about photography, but you can get a good overall picture, and the creative amongst you will enjoy messing about with some of the manual settings to really squeeze a bit more out of the photography. But for me, it's all about the video. It is very stable. When you walk, yes, you do see a bit of movement, which is, to be honest, not my thing. There are videos showing you how to walk funny, but I'm not doing that out in public too often. You can get a Z-axis Maybe that's cool, I need to check that out. But generally, when it's in your hand, it moves decent, it's smooth, it follows you well. There's selfie mode. There you go, selfie mode. So you need an arm that's really, really long and longer than that. If you're getting a decent GoPro now for a couple hundred, 300, plus a stabilizer, mine was 140, but to get one that's nice and tidy like this, well, not even as tidy and nice as this, but to get one close to this, you're looking at maybe a couple hundred, so 500. This has got it all in there except for the screen, but you can do that on the phone. Horses for courses, really. It's a keeper. Thanks for watching my very random DJI Osmo review. What can I say? I do love the gadgets. Stay tuned for more randomness. Not in this video though. I'm trying to keep this one brief, and I think I've already gone over time. Ta-ra. Who needs a Z-axis anyway?